May I call upon Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Calicut, Professor Dr. M.Abdul Salam to kindly inaugurate the session and thereafter address the august gathering.
Respected Chairperson of this function, Dr. Satyavati Perul, Dr. Mohan, Dr. Sabu, scientific luminaries, media persons, and my dear boys and girls. The title over here, a national colloquium on the socio-legal aspects of Gadgil-Kasturirangan reports on Western Ghats. So we are talking about the socio aspects, sociological aspects, legal aspects of two reports, Gadgil report, Kasturirangan report on Western Ghats. I am observing very senior professors over here, but I am communicating with the young boys and girls over here because my knowledge on the subject is very, very limited. But still, I may be able to interact with you at least a few points. This is a very important, hot topic of the day and is debated by many and many. And even agitations are going on even today. This is important. This discussion is important. This debate is important. And I congratulate our Botany team and the Palkhivala academic team for organizing this important discussion. The sociological relevance I may be able to talk, not the legal relevance, legal experts will talk. Why this report? If I ask a question to my boys and girls over here, most of them may be graduates, can you name the critical natural resources that you see around? How many of you are capable of naming the critical natural resources? You may look this way and that way and this way. And why I am telling you is, not only you, even the persons who debate on this subject, very often they fail to understand what are the important natural resources, what is their relevance, how they are connected with human life, what is the interaction, what is the type of system which with this nature's precious system is interacting, what is the type of synergy or antagonism, how this is going to affect the mankind. If you go through this, people will be talking about a number of words without clearly understanding the meaning, exact meaning of the terms. When we come down to the report, the Gadgil report, Kasturi, I have not read. Gadgil, I have just scanned through 294 pages. I cannot sit down and read all, but I have gone through the critical recommendations. My observation is that it is a fine prescription of a doctor who is very much concerned about the health of a patient to maintain a sustainable health. Very clear prescription, a harmless prescription, a visionary doctor prescribed for the patient, his own patient. Here the Gadgil and the team were looking at the nature as the patient, looking at the components of the nature, looking at the status of the components, looking at the quality of the components, looking at the vulnerability of the components, looking at the utility of the components, looking at the need for maintaining the health of the components. There is a huge prescription, and there are many jargons which many of you, I don't know how many of you have really understood. One person was asking, what is this sustainable development? What is this ecologically fragile, EC, ecologically fragile ecosystem? What is an ecosystem? Now these are the things first we should teach to our youngsters, not only to youngsters, even elders who are all the time talking about these things. You know, there is a need, you go to any plant, any part of the planet, wherever there is a healthy soil and a healthy environment, the soil, the water, the biodiversity, supply with ample amount of solar radiation, with huge amount of green biodiversity. That is the environment where the culture and civilization started, and that is a system that supports better human development and human growth. We use the word sustainable agriculture. I don't know how many of you know the meaning of the word sustainable agriculture. And again, sustainable development, the increase in the population over the planet, in our nation, in our state, in our district, and the increasing demand for our basic needs, food, shelter, clothing, all that we know. But very often, considering only the demand of the individuals, we have been we have Professor Prasad here, who is a pioneering person in this field. Let me complete my statements. I said it was one of the finest prescription by a doctor for his patient. It is finest, I believe it is finest. It looks good, but it casts huge amount of apprehensions among the users at the ground level, among the beneficiaries at the ground level. I was critically looking at the content of it. I said the classification of the ecosystems into sensitive or fragile, and then non-sensitive or tolerant, and then the type of interventions needed, all these things. Scientifically good, leaving the decision making to the local people, good. But why the people are agitated? To my belief, to my knowledge, to my understanding, after living in this world for the past 6 decades, I believe why such a fine message, good content, harmless content, good for the society, looking with vision, maintaining the purity and sustenance of the natural resources. As I said, the soil, the water, the biodiversity and all that. Why so much of you have tried? I believe, as I said, this prescription is going to be implemented by a particular bureaucracy of this nation. I am left with the feeling that there is a bureaucratic terrorism in the nation, all over terrorizing our common man using the legal empowerment. You may not be, capable of taking even a grain of sand or a pinch of soil or using a species of the plant. All these things are created for the super species, the superhuman being. We talk about sustainable development and sustainable agriculture. Sustainable agriculture is the type of agriculture wherein it will end with a non-negative trend in the productivity of a land. The productivity need not be increased, it should not be declined, it should be maintained at a level by maintaining the health of the environment. Yet sustainable development is a big difference, wherein the person who defined that, he put it in this way: improving the quality of life of a human being by living within the carrying capacity of the environment. What is that environment? The environment environment is everything that is accepting the person or accepting the object, all that you see around. Maintaining the carrying capacity of your environment, your soil, your water, your biodiversity, your purity. So this is what is envisaged. So the super central point is the human being. All these are for human being, but for optimal use. Looking at the next generation, maintaining the health. Something has gone wrong because of the increasing population. Today we have 7 billion people in the planet, India 1.25. To meet their requirement, we started exploiting all the resources. There was degradation, there was climate change, there was soil erosion, water erosion, decline in forests and so on and so forth. Then learned people started thinking, they started enforcing certain control to optimize the use. So you and I, we are put into certain regulatory mechanism. All the prescriptions are good. I believe when we give these regulatory mechanisms to the common bureaucratic setup over here, I am sure this bureaucracy is going to terrorize the common man. Because of that fear only, they are crying. They cannot take even a pinch of soil or a pinch of sand or a piece of wood which are required. For in the name of law, the people in the bureaucracy are going to terrorize them, to take advantage of them, to enhance the level of corruption. That feeling, I believe, is the reason for the agitation that you see around. I am afraid and I am disappointed of the bureaucracy of the day, the inefficiency of the bureaucracy, the corruption of the bureaucracy, the inability of the bureaucracy, the selfishness of the bureaucracy. A few percent of the people robbing away the whole percentage of the income of the government for knowing inadequate or for giving inadequate services or inefficient services. I believe this is an agitation against the bureaucracy, against corruption, against bureaucracy induced stress on the human being. I remember, even as a Vice Chancellor, I was struggling to get small simple certificates from our system. That is why very often I am emphatically acting on my people here. When the boys and girls come for a certificate or a service, or to the village office or the panchayat office, or the poor farmer approaching for cutting a small tree or taking a permission for a construction, the people in the so-called fragile system will be in great trouble. So what is an answer? No, we have to educate them, we have to tell them the need for doing this. At the same time, we have to massage or manipulate or activate our bureaucracy. I am disappointed with the bureaucracy. Always I am disappointed. I am also a part of the bureaucracy. We are all the gift of our democracy to the public is a most inefficient, most ridiculous, most disappointing, inefficient, lethargic bureaucracy. There should be a change. Here the question is, who is the boss? Whether the bureaucracy, the person who is getting the salary is the boss or the common man is the boss. I am left with the impression this. The garble agitation is because of the fear, because of the exploitation expected from the bureaucracy. So the government and the people should teach the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy should be the servants of the people. We should look for such a change. The democracy, the ill of the democracy, I believe, is this deteriorated, not the ecosystem, deteriorated bureaucracy. So I conclude by saying that there are many other reasons, but one point I believe, all the disappointments of the poor people is the possible threat from the bureaucracy, preventing them. We talk about sustainable development, improving the quality of life by living within the carrying capacity of the soil. Yes, all these things are good, but it will never ever improve with this type of bureaucracy. I am sorry if I was very harsh. My experience even as a Vice Chancellor, at Trivandrum, recently at Trivandrum Corporation, even here in Panchayats, even Vice Chancellor is struggling to get things done, even at the lower level officers. I can just imagine what will be the struggle of the common armed army type of people. This is why, people started looking for change. Maybe armed army or something else. What is needed? Secure and solace and service to the common man, which is denied by all the governments and all the parties. I conclude. I declare this national colloquium inaugurated. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the dynamic eloquence and authentic knowledge that reaches us from you.